Okay, fourth grade, welcome to our flipped classroom, and this is going to be a review on addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So get your homework out and get ready. Remember, we will have a quiz on this on Friday, so make sure you watch this video as many times as you need, pause if you need to, and I want you to ask either myself or Mrs. Drake any questions that you may have. Let's start off with, what is addition? Addition is the process of putting two numbers together. So, something plus something else, adding together. What is subtraction? Subtraction is the process of finding the difference between two numbers. And you need to focus on that word difference. How much more is another number, or subtracting, taking things away. So, focus on the word difference. Anytime you see difference, that's going to mean subtraction. Go ahead and fill this in on your homework. Pause if you need to, but I'm going to move on. Next, we have sum. Sum is the answer to an addition problem. Go ahead and write this down on your homework. Difference. Difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So make sure that you put both of these on your homework. And again, pause if you need to or replay if you need to. I need you to remember that sum, if it asks you for the sum, that means you need to add. If it asks you for the difference, that means you need to subtract. Okay, let's go ahead and practice some problems. And I'm sure all of you know how to do these, but sometimes we need a refresher because we haven't done this in a while. Let's start with 800 minus 217. I have zeros here, so I need to make sure that I borrow. And I can't borrow. I start in the ones place always. I've seen some of you starting over here in the hundreds place, and we do not do that ever. Let's start in the ones place. So, can I do 0 minus 1? No, and you have to ask yourself that because some of you are doing 7 minus 0 and just writing 7, and that's not correct. Can I do 0 minus 7? No. Can I borrow from the tens place? No, so I have to jump all the way to the hundreds place to borrow. This 8 is going to become a 7, and then I'm going to move 10 hundreds over here. Now, can I borrow from the tens place? Yes, so that becomes a 9, and this becomes a 10. And then I can subtract. 10 minus 7 is 3, 9 minus 1 is 8, 7 minus 2 is what? That's right, it's 5. And my answer is 583. Let's move over here. And again, we don't start in the hundreds place, we start in the ones place. 7 minus 4, that's going to be 3. Can I do 2 minus 7? You have to ask yourself that. No, I can't. So I need to borrow from the hundreds place. I need to make this 2 a 12. And then what is 12 minus 7? That is going to be 5. And 8 minus 1 is going to be 7. So the answer to that one is 753. Let's move over here to addition. Never again start in the hundreds place. Always start in the ones place. 4 plus 2 is going to be 6. 9 plus 4 is going to be 13, and I have the 1 to carry. I've seen some of you starting to put the 1 down here and the 3 up here. We don't do that. Ones place goes down here. Carry the tens place over. And then I'm going to do 6 plus 2. With 6 plus 2, 6, 7, 8 plus 1 is 9. So my answer is 936. And for our last problem, we have 563 plus 196. Starting in the ones place, 3 plus 6 is 9. 6 plus 9 is 15. Carry the 1 in the tens place. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So your answer is 759. You have a few more problems to practice on your homework, and you have a lot more places to work with on some of them. So I want you to take the time to practice, and then we can move on to the multiplication and division part. So pause if you need to. Okay, what is division? Division is the splitting of larger numbers into smaller numbers. Division undoes multiplication. What is multiplication? Multiplication is repeated addition, adding the same number a given number of times. So, if you have 9 times 5, you're going to add 9 5 times or 5 9 times. Either one is okay, and that's what multiplication is. So fill this in on your homework and pause if you need to. Let's look at some more vocabulary. Divisor. What is the divisor? The divisor is the number you divide by. So, if I have this made up problem, this is going to be your divisor. Dividend. It's the number that lives in the house, the number that you break down. And this is the dividend, what you break down. Quotient is the number that is the answer to a division problem. Next, we have multiplication vocabulary. Factors. Factors are the two numbers that you multiply. So, 6 times 5, 6 and 5 are the factors. And the product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So this would be the product. Make sure you pause this video and take a moment to write down your vocabulary, and I'm going to move on. Next, we have some division problems to practice. Remember, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? So, I have 753, and it's going to be divided by 6. So, divide. How many times does 6 go into 7? That would be 1. Then you multiply. 6 times 1 is 6. Subtract. You subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. Bring down burgers. That would be bring down the 5. Then we start all over again because we still have other numbers to bring down. So, how many times does 6 go into 15? Well, that would be 2 times. 6 times 2 is 12. Then I subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. 1 minus 1 is 0. And then I bring down. So, I bring it down. How many times does 6 go into 33? Well, that's easy. That's 5 times. 6 times 5 is 30. Subtract, and that gives me 3. Is 3 smaller than 6? Yes, it is. So that means that my remainder is going to be 3. And my answer is 125, remainder 3. Then I'm going to move on over to the next one, which is 596 divided by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Divide. How many times does 3 go into 5? That would be 1 time. Subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. Bring down the 9. How many times does 3 go into 29? That would be, how many times is that? I want you to stop and think about that one because I've been doing a whole lot of work for you guys. That would be 9 times if you got that one. So, 9 minus 7 is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Some of you write the 0. You don't have to. It's your personal preference. Bring down the 6. How many times does 3 go into 26? That would be 8 times. 8 times 3 is 24. Subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. Is 2 smaller than 3? Yes, it is. So that means that my remainder is 2. Okay, and for this last problem, I changed it up a little bit because I wanted to show you something. So it's going to be 609, and it's going to be divided by 6. So first, I have to ask, how many times does 6 go into 6? Well, it goes into 6 1 time. Then I subtract, and I have 0. Now, some of you would just skip over this 0, but even though it's 0, you have to bring it down. Then you have to ask yourself, how many times does 6 go into 0? That's 0 times. 6 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 0 is 0. I know it seems weird, but you have to do all of these steps. Then you have to bring down the 9 and ask yourself, how many times does 6 go into 9? That would be 1 time. 6 times 1 is 6. Then you subtract. 9 minus 6 is 3, and you have a remainder of 3 because 3 is smaller than 6. If you had not done this extra step of the 0, you would have gotten the answer of 11. Think about that. 6 times 11 is 66, nowhere near 609. So you need to make sure that you are doing that step. And I wanted to show you one with a 0 in it so you understood that. Next, we're going to move on to multiplication. Some of you have forgotten how to do just one digit by, or two digit by one digit. So let's review that. 8 times 3 is 24. Carry the 2, and then 8 times 4 is 32, plus 2 is 34. Some of you want to go and bring down the 0 and do all kinds of other crazy things. You don't have to do that when it's two digit by one digit. Let's practice again. 29 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36. Carry the 3. Some of you are also putting the 3 down here and carrying the 6. Always drop the 1 off ones place and bring the tens place over. Then 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 8, 9, 10, 11. And you're just done after that. Let's go over here to two digit by two digit. Some of you want to start in the tens place, but we are doing ones place times the ones place. 7 times 3 is 21. Carry the 2. 9 times 7, what is 9 times 7? Because I'm giving you some of these facts to work on, because some of you need to practice your multiplication facts. 9 times 7, hope we got it, is 63, plus 2, 63, 64, 65. Bring down the 0. Some of you are forgetting to bring down the 0 and you're just starting over again, and we have to remember to do that. Mark off the ones that you've already used. That helps. 4 times 3. We don't start with 4 times 9. We do 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1. 9 times 4 is 36, plus 1 is 37. Also, some of you are trying to write both numbers down here, like 9 times 7 is 63, and you want to write 63 down here. We don't do that either. You have to drop off the ones place and carry the tens place. Then we add it up. 1, 5 plus 2 is 5, 6, 7. 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry the 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So, I hope that you please remember these steps. Next, 6 times 2 is 12. Do not do that. Don't do that. Some of you have done that, and I've seen you. Don't do that. 6 times 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 1 is 37. Bring down that 0. Don't forget that step. Mark off what you've already used. 3 times 2 is 6. Do you have anything to carry? No, so don't worry about it. If you don't have anything to carry over, just write down the 6. 6 times 3. What is 6 times 3? I'm going to give you a second to think about that. It is, hopefully everybody said 18. Then you add 2. 7 plus 6 is 13. Carry the 1. 8 plus 3 is 11, plus 1 is 12. Carry that 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So, please practice this. I know that some of you have got this, and if you've got it, take off. If you don't understand and you're still making some of these simple mistakes, please practice. This is not just for me, this is for you, and this is a skill that you are going to need forever. You're going to have to know how to multiply, add, subtract, and divide. Any questions, please ask your teacher, or if you're in Miss Drake's class, come ask me. And if you're in my class, ask Mrs. Drake. That's okay, but I want to make sure that you understand this before you move on to 5th grade. All right, that's it. And remember, you have a quiz, so be prepared. Have a great evening.